Oh, yes.
Welcome back, everyone. Today I'm very excited to bring you a review for the new Masters of the Universe Origins Wave 8 figure, Horde Trooper. This is the first release of the Horde Trooper in Origins at retail. However, if you were lucky enough to pick up the PowerCon exclusive Evil Horde set, you got two variants of the Trooper in that before this regular silver one even came out. That being said, if you see my reviews before, you know how this goes. We're going to take a look at the Horde Trooper's packaging, then we'll open it up, we'll check out the mini comic real quick, and then we'll see the Horde Trooper itself, check out the posability, the accessories, we'll see its action figure in action. Naturally, I'll be doing some group shots and comparisons today, and then at the end of the video, I'll give my final thoughts. So our Horde Trooper comes in your standard MOTU Origins packaging. You get the logo up here, you get his name, you get his title, which is Evil Mechanical Enforcer of Hordak. You get your really cool The Evil Horde sticker right here, identifying his, subset or faction. You can see his weapon accessory and the comic behind him. Then on the back, this really cool artwork of a bunch of Horde Troopers fighting Thunder Punch He-Man. Now that's interesting because up to this point we have not had a release of Thunder Punch He-Man. We've had the original, we've had Battle Armor, and we've had Flying Fists. Interestingly, they kind of skipped over the Thunder Punch version, which in the vintage line came before Flying Fist He-Man. So I would say this is a pretty good sign we'll be getting a Thunder Punch He-Man fairly soon. So you can see quite a few Horde Troopers, because this guy is an army builder, which is why it took me longer to pick him up than any of the others, because people just want to buy a whole bunch of them, and he sold out very, very quickly, which is something that always personally irritates me when a toy is just hitting shelves. The fact that everyone will pile on and buy like 10 of them. It's like, oh, that's cool. I didn't want one anyway. Thanks for buying up all the stock. I know not everybody's going to agree with me on that take, and some people are like, oh, it's a free country, free market, buy whatever you want. Personally, I just think it's just very bad collector etiquette to go and troop build as soon as things start showing up. But that's just me. You can also see right here in the foreground, Hordak looking rather perturbed that He-Man is making very light work of his Horde Troopers. Up here we get our flavor text, and it says, "The mindless minions of Hordak use their overwhelming numbers to overpower their enemies." So it's a pretty cool write-up to go with some really nice artwork. Over here we get our action feature callouts. It says, "Press Horde symbol on chest, armor busts off, press armor back into place." So that is this guy's main play feature, the exploding chest armor. It's pretty cool. And then lastly over here we get our cross-sells. So you get your vintage head He-Man and Skeletor figures, which have been a staple in the wave since Wave 5. You get Sunman, who has had both a retail release in this wave as well as a PowerCon release. The Horde Trooper itself, Clawful, who we reviewed previously, and then Anti-Eternia He-Man, who we also reviewed previously. So it's a pretty cool wave. It's got a lot of crazy stuff going on. You have two vintage characters, both an Evil Warrior and a Horde Warrior. You have a character that didn't pop up until Classics was a thing, so this is his first time getting that vintage or Origins treatment. And you get Sunman, who originally wasn't even a He-Man character to begin with. So it is a very interesting wave, and one that I have pretty thoroughly enjoyed so far. So that is our packaging. It looks great. Got good callouts to his action features, great artwork, all that stuff. And now it's time to open it up. All right, here's our mini comic. It's Sunman Rises. And the Horde Troopers play a pretty small part in this. They're here in like this one scene, more or less, just getting diced up by He-Man. This mostly centers around Skeletor and Clawful scheming to bring like an Evil Warrior into the fold. They get Anti-Eternia He-Man, who turns on them, beats them up. But then Sunman comes through one of these portals, beats up Anti-Eternia He-Man, and then he sees regular He-Man fighting against a Horde Trooper, so he decides to swoop in and help. And that's pretty much the whole comic. Of course, as usual, we get our cross-sells on the back. Now we get to see our Horde Trooper in hand, and I have to say, I very, very much dig the silver that they did on this guy. I believe it's silver paint. Maybe that's a plastic color, I'm not sure, but it's got this really nice, very shiny, pearl-like quality to it. It looks really, really good under bright lights. I mean, look at the shine on the legs and everything. I really dig this guy. I mean, yeah, overall, he's kind of your generic sci-fi robot baddie. Not the most unique design out there, but he is still an iconic MOTU character, and he does at least, have some certain specific trappings, like the Horde symbol on the chest. He's got his cool gargoyle staff here. which, you take a close look at that. You can see like kind of the underbelly of the gargoyle with like the chest and all that. And there's the top side of it where you can see its head. Pretty neat, very well detailed. Our posability, he's got his double ball joint head moving around that little socket there. Whoops, I'll set that aside for now. He's got his universal shoulders, the elbow swivel, single bending elbows, universal wrists, got a full waist articulation, universal hips, full knee bends, which go pretty much 90 degrees. They also rotate. He's got a boot swivel here, and then he's got his ankle rock and rotation. So all the usual trappings of an Origins figure. Everything works really well. He's got lots of clearance. The tolerances on this guy are like perfect, man. He came out so well. Everything feels nice and smooth. There's almost a softness to his movements that just feels really nice when you're manipulating him. And then, of course, because he is a Horde Trooper, he has this classic play gimmick. Now, it doesn't activate very easily. You got to push this little button right here really hard. But when you do, see my finger out of the way. His chest halves split apart like this, as if he's like blowing up. And then you see all this red circuitry and stuff underneath. Nice detailing. And I mentioned this during the Evil Horde set, but the inner bit here has some rotation that just kind of, swings back and forth. I don't know if that's intentional or not, like it's just the way they put it together, but it kind of works because you can make it look like they're, powered down or being smacked backwards after they get hit. So intentional or not, it works out pretty well. Very cool looking, and again, there's a bug in here. Very, very cool bit of detailing. So I very much like this guy. Both, the design and the color scheme just really works for me. It's not often you get this just really good looking silver color that isn't some sort of a chroming or a vac metal. So really dig this so far. Here's a quick comparison with the specialized Horde Troopers that came as part of the PowerCon exclusive Evil Horde pack. I don't remember the specific names of these guys right off the top of my head, but we do have a red one and a black one. And unlike this guy, they also come with those Horde crossbows in addition to their little gargoyle staffs. And, that's just due to their status as some sort of high-end exclusive, higher budget allotment. They can have more parts. Now, I really don't like these as an accessory. They have this weird play gimmick that doesn't make any sense, first of all. And it just, I don't know, I find these very flimsy and unappealing. If they had just changed these into just like actual real looking crossbow type things, I'd be more fond of them. So I don't really mind that he doesn't have it. In fact, I find these more like kind of cumbersome and annoying than anything. So I'm good with him just having, the staff. Yeah, it's a bit of a lesser value, but it's also hard to compare because this was a singular retail release, and these guys were part of a, big fancy 4-pack, which has some really cool packaging. If you haven't seen my review on these guys, you should really look at that just to see the amazing packaging that set came in. I still kept it. I don't normally keep packaging, but I had to keep this because it's almost like a play set. It's so cool. And for a fun group shot, here is our Evil Horde assembled so far. Now, I am using the standard red and black version of Hordak rather than the one that came as part of the Evil Horde set, just because I really prefer that aesthetic a lot more. Like, the cartoon colors one is cool. It's got the cool little, like, rocket arm and all that. But I prefer the more vampire-looking Hordak. I always have. And I think he just blends, a lot better with the reds and blacks and grays of these guys anyway. So yeah, really nice Evil Horde that's starting to shape up. We do know that we are getting Mantenna in Wave 9. That's kind of just been recently revealed. So if you're not aware of that, we are getting a new wave that has Mantenna from the Horde. It has the 2000X design He-Man and Skeletor figures. And there's one more. I think it was a Pigface, from Sunman. So that'll be an interesting wave. And Mantenna was one of those ones, I wasn't sure if we were going to get him because he's such an unorthodox, like strangely shaped figure that doesn't really fit your standard quadrupedal humanoid type setup. But he is coming, so that's very cool. I can't wait to add him to this collection here because this is really starting to look fleshed out. And, I don't feel the need to actually troop build the Horde Troopers. I feel like I have a nice little spread right here. Of course, the exclusive set here wasn't the easiest thing to come by and wasn't the cheapest. So I do fully understand people just troop building the silver version as an alternative to getting like the different color variants. Though again, my personal feelings is you should maybe wait till they've been out a little bit just to give other people a chance to get one. That's just how I feel. And this completes our look at the MOTU Origins Horde Trooper. I have to say I very much like this toy. I love the way it came out. Again, fairly basic design. It's, you know, a standard 70s or 80s, you know, imagine the sci-fi robot. But it kind of works. What's wrong with having a sci-fi robot? Plus, he's got a lot of really great sculpted detailing, a lot of unique tooling. Well, unique, you know, amongst Horde Troopers. Obviously, he's got different variants, but, you know, compared to other characters. Really cool little staff there. Great action feature. I do wish the action feature was a little bit easier to trigger. Like, you know, you got to kind of be careful what you ask for, though, because then, you know, maybe it'll become too floppy. But it is really hard to, you know, actually depress that button and get the chest halves to open, at least on my copy. I know I had a similar issue with the PowerCon versions, though I don't think they were quite as tight. So if they could just kind of tweak that a little bit, and maybe it's just my copy. Who knows? Maybe other people don't have that issue. Mine, you know, takes quite a bit of force and kind of ruins the ability to have that play value of being able to, like, you know, have a toy punch it and have the chest open up. So that could use, I think, a little bit of tweaking. As I said, I absolutely love the silver color on this guy. It's a color that, like, I've rarely ever seen. It almost looks like somebody took one of those like metallic silver markers, like the paint markers, and painted them with that. It looks really, really good, and just very happy with the way that turned out. The overall colors of the black and red mixing in with that, the really cool yellow visor. I even like the way, you know, the head works, where it's just this kind of spherical helmet head that's inside of a neck socket thing there. It just really works for me. Very much dig this guy, and I think if you're a MOTU fan, you owe it to yourself to pick it up. It's just something that's very unique. It's a lot of fun, very stable, good to look at. He may be hard to find for now because, again, people are going to be army building this thing like crazy. I've seen people talk about how they're, you know, buying 20 of them, which to me is a bit excessive, but I mean, if you got the money, right? So when you can find this guy, mine came from BBTS. I don't know if they're still in stock there. Target had been, you know, coming in and out of stock, but he'll probably start showing up there on shelves soon enough. Very, very much recommend it. I think you'll have a blast with this guy. Of course, that is just my take on the Horde Trooper, so now I want to know what you all think. Do you find this to be a good figure? Is this something you know, see yourself adding to your collection? Is it something you've been waiting for? Or do you not want this? Either you don't like the way it came out, you're not interested in it, maybe you don't like generics. Any and all feedback's always welcome in the comments section. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to toss it a like. Let YouTube know you want to see more stuff like this. If you do want to see more like this, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you always get a heads up when I post something new. I thank you for joining me for this very, very cool look at the new Masters of the Universe Origins Wave 8 Horde Trooper. With all that said, I will see you next time.